the essence of what the United States was coming to stand for, the very grist for its burgeoning and shaping identity as a nation and a people. The victory had another lasting impact as well, one that still makes itself felt today in ways both large and small. The owners of America won a silver cup from the British. Not very valuable, nor very pretty. It was a rather bulbous thing with great Victorian curves, scrolls, and decorative curlicues. Several years later, the owners gave the cup to the New York Yacht Club as a perpetual challenge trophy, meaning the holder of the cup must defend against all comers and relinquish it if beaten. In 1870, the first challenge race for the cup was held before thousands of spectators aboard boats in New York Harbor and crowded along the shores. Races for the cup, named in Yacht America's honor, have been held ever since. The victory of America, which started the America's Cup tradition, illuminates the soul of the United States. It is a beacon of courage, innovation, and a willingness to push on despite what appeared to be impossible odds. And now, more than 100 years later, its legacy captivates sailing fans around the world, enthralling millions of sailors and non-sailors alike as the drama of each successive challenge race plays out on the screens of televisions and on the pages of newspapers in many languages. The story of America is well known among people who race sailing vessels, and it lingers like a distant cloud of recognition in the minds of the general public. But there was much more to it than winning a sailboat race and bringing home a gaudy little cup. There is beneath the end result a story never told before about the forgotten heroes that made the great moment possible, the working-class men with strong backs and dirty hands who designed, built, and sailed the yacht, and who never really got credit for their efforts. These ordinary men who achieved the extraordinary are the subject of this book. To some, they may represent the millions of Americans striving for their own version of the American dream, without ever realizing much chance of making history. Most possess the spirit to achieve greatness, if only given the opportunity, and they do achieve it just by going to work, raising a family, and contributing individual efforts to make a collective good possible. Today, as in 1851, these people make this country what it is. In New York, there exists a group of men and women who guide ships into the port, ensuring that the vessels do not run aground. They are known as the Sandy Hook Pilots, and their tradition traces back to 1694. It is a proud order, one that stresses courage, honor, and integrity. These individuals have remained obscure, as they were back in 1851, when one of their profession left his post long enough to sail America across the North Atlantic and bring her to victory in England. His name was Captain Richard Brown, a big man with a hearty laugh and a soft-spoken manner. He did not search for glory or fame. He did not strive for enormous wealth. His main concern was for his men and the boat, and to carry out his word to the owners to the best of his ability. In this he succeeded. However, he is mentioned in name only in all accounts of the race. History has overlooked him as an individual, in spite of the contributions he made. The first mate of America, Nelson Comstock, also remains a mere name in the history books. An expert sailor from a long line of mariners, Nelson Comstock stood at Brown's side as an essential member of the team of men that sailed the yacht to victory. Together, Brown and Comstock brought the schooner through storms and calms, and overcame the dangers of the sea that nearly crippled the boat on the voyage across the North Atlantic. They knew every one of her nuances, quirks, and foibles. A sailing vessel is almost a living thing. No two are alike. They require a subtle and knowing hand at the helm to perform to maximum potential. There is no room for any other focus but on the boat, and Brown and Comstock possessed the ability to carry through and find that focus. Less obscure, but no less important to the victory, was the rather timid, shy genius of naval architecture, George